Control is not the goal. Catching it sooner is. You don't need better thoughts. You need better interruption. You need to catch the body. You need to catch the breath. You need to catch the urge before it becomes behavior, because the moment you can interrupt a trigger, you own it. And when you own it, you are no longer a passenger in your own life. Most people believe control comes from confidence. It doesn't. Confidence is just how you feel about yourself in a moment. Control is what you do when that feeling disappears. Anyone can feel confident on a good day. Mastery shows up on the bad ones. When you're tired, when you're irritated, when you feel dismissed, when you feel unseen, when you feel small. That's when triggers take over. Not because you're weak, because your nervous system is faster than your pride. Here's the part that stings. You don't fail because you don't know better. You fail because your body reacts faster than your standards. You can have the best intentions in the world, but when the trigger fires, your standards disappear, and habits speak. You apologize too quickly. You soften too fast. You explain too much. You laugh too early. You retreat too soon. Not because you chose to, because your nervous system remembered an old lesson. Let me make this clear. Triggers are not your enemy. They are evidence. Evidence of where you were trained. Evidence of what once mattered. Evidence of what once hurt. Evidence of what once protected you. The problem is not having triggers. The problem is letting them decide. Now let's talk about accountability. Real accountability is not blaming yourself. It's noticing yourself. It's saying, that reaction wasn't who I am. It was who I used to be. And then choosing again. Most people never do this. They either justify the reaction or they shame themselves for it. Both keep the trigger alive. Justification protects it. Shame strengthens it. Awareness weakens it. Here's what mastery actually looks like in real life. It looks boring. It looks quiet. It looks like someone pausing before responding. Saying less. Not rushing to defend. Letting silence sit. Choosing tone. Choosing timing. It looks like someone choosing restraint. People mistake that for weakness until they realize they can't move you. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't explode, until they realize you don't collapse. Then they feel it. Then they respect it. Now let's talk about something most people never connect. Triggers don't just affect emotions. They affect money, they affect careers, they affect negotiations, they affect relationships, they affect leadership. Because every time you react unconsciously, you leak position, you leak authority, you leak stability. The person who stays calm in pressure situations becomes the reference point. The person who reacts becomes the variable. That's why two people can say the same words, and only one is taken seriously. It's not the words. It's the control behind them. Here's another truth. Your triggers don't just hurt you. They teach people how to treat you. Every apology teaches them you feel guilty. Every explanation teaches them you feel unsure. Every nervous laugh teaches them you feel unsafe. Every silence teaches them you don't hold ground. You are constantly educating people emotionally, not with intention, with reaction. And people learn quickly. They always do. This is why mastering triggers changes everything. Not because you become aggressive, because you become consistent, because your tone matches your words, because your presence matches your intention, because your boundaries match your value. Now let's talk about emotional strength. Emotional strength is not being unbothered. Emotional strength is being bothered and not leaking it. It's being able to feel pressure and still speak clearly. It's being able to feel anger and still choose restraint. It's being able to feel fear and still hold position. That's leadership. Not performance. Not dominance. Leadership. Now here is where most people quit. They notice a trigger, they interrupt it once, and then they think they're done. They're not. Triggers weaken through repetition, not insight. You don't defeat a pattern by understanding it. You defeat it by out-choosing it. Again, and again, and again. Until the nervous system learns something new. Your body does not learn through explanation. It learns through experience, through different outcomes, through repeated safety in new responses. That's why mastery feels slow at first, because you are teaching a system that was trained for years. And it doesn't trust you yet. But once it does, everything changes. Your reactions soften. Your impulses slow. Your clarity increases. Your confidence stabilizes. Your presence deepens, and you don't even realize it's happening. Until one day, you notice you didn't react, and it felt natural. That is the moment mastery becomes identity, not forced, integrated. Now let's talk about something people don't like to admit. Many people secretly enjoy their triggers, because triggers give them stories. Stories about why they reacted. Stories about why they failed. Stories about why they stayed small. Stories about why they didn't change. Triggers provide emotional justification. Mastery removes it. And without justification, only choice remains. That's why mastery feels uncomfortable, because it removes excuses. But here's the trade. Excuses feel good now. Authority feels good later. People who master triggers do not feel superior. They feel stable, they feel grounded, they feel deliberate, they feel difficult to shake, they feel like themselves. Now let's talk about discipline. Discipline is not forcing behavior. Discipline is remembering who you decided to be. In the moment it's hardest to remember. When you want to send that message, when you want to argue, when you want to withdraw, when you want to defend, when you want to perform, when you want to disappear. That moment is where discipline lives, not in the gym, not in productivity, not in slogans, in reaction. This is why most people never change. They try to change outcomes. They never change responses, and responses are where life actually happens. If this hit harder than you expected, the Trigger Field Manual is below. It's short, practical, and made to help you catch your patterns faster.